අපි විසින් අනාවරණය කරගන්න මේ තොරතුරු මත
Based on the information we have uncovered, this committee must be granted the authority to take definitive legal action regarding financial fraud, misappropriation of funds or similar misconduct occurring in this country. Therefore, we are presenting such a proposal today, and this is how the proceedings of this debate are being initiated. Honourable Speaker, particularly as a government and specifically as this Committee on Public Enterprises, we are responsible for overseeing 457 SOEs under the committee's jurisdiction. In all these institutions, we have directed special attention to maintaining financial discipline. Many institutions assume that we will not intervene in such matters. So far, we have conducted complete investigations into 14 institutions and have identified a significant number of irregularities. For instance, the LRC Act stipulates that employees should be provided with residential facilities. However, instead of complying, land under the LRC was divided into 10 perch plots and sold for large sums of money. These institutions have actively worked to bypass audit procedures. A clear example is the Mahapula Fund. 500 million rupees provided by the responsible authority along with a 175 million loan was used to establish the SLIIT institution. Through multiple agreements, the SLIIT institution was structured so that the Auditor General could not fully monitor its operations. How does this happen? Now, the profits from this end up in the hands of a private group. Another case is Lanka Transformers Limited. CEB held a 63% stake in LTL while another private company held 27%. However, through a loan secured against the LTL assets and with a portion of the board's influence, a separate private company was created to acquire the remaining 27% and gradually reduce the CEB's 63% stake. Subsequently, it was claimed that audits were not applicable and the Auditor General had no right to monitor this. How can this be justified? These are state assets, public wealth, yet they are being misused. The same situation applies to the Airport and Aviation Services Authority. Since 2007, passenger capacity was increased from 6 million to 12 million. Approximately 1,672.8 million rupees was spent, in addition to payments made in USD and Japanese yen. After that, projects were undertaken, yet both projects proved highly unsuccessful. Facilities were built for aircraft parking, but airplanes still cannot be docked. Passenger terminals were partially constructed, only 5% of the work was completed, despite around 30% of the funds being spent. Work has since halted, and now efforts are being made to restart it. This is after this government came into power. Public funds have been destroyed in this way. Now we are determined to take action against officials who were involved in such theft, fraud and corruption. At the same time, we are steadfastly supporting officials who, in opposition to these activities, dedicated their time, effort and resources to protect the wealth of the nation. We are encouraging and recognizing them for their commitment to safeguarding public assets throughout this process.
කාලය ශ්‍රමය ධනය කැප කරපු නිලධාරීන් වෙනුවෙන්
පොද විදුලි බල මණ්ඩලයේ ඉබිගමන යද්දී
While the Ceylon Electricity Board is struggling, today the Lanka Transformers Limited has achieved international success. It has secured a significant space in the global electricity and power plant sector. What we see is that this government looks at certain parties like crocodiles spotting prey. They look at private companies with suspicion. They look at semi-government companies with suspicion. They look at those earning higher revenues with suspicion. They even look at those bringing income to the state with suspicion, saying they're making more than this suspiciously.
රජයට ආදායම් ගේන දිහාත් බලන්නේ මේ මේට වඩා ආදායම් ගේනවා කියලා වපරහින්. නමුත් ඔබතුමා දන්නවද CEB එකේ LTL එකේ දෙකේම සභාපතිවරයා එකම කෙනෙක්?
Do you know that both the CEB and the LTL have the same chairman? We are trying to find out why one institution incurs losses while the other makes profits under the same chairman. So do not panic. A related report will be presented in Parliament as well. We also brought the Airport and Aviation Services Limited before the COP. This institution's airport passenger terminal project began some time ago but faced changes with government transitions. In 2012, its design was changed to resemble a lotus flower. In 2015, the plan was changed again to resemble a bow leaf. This is a way of taking revenge on the previous government. Out of that same resentment, the next government changes the roof design again. But who pays the price? The people pay the price. This is how millions and billions have been wasted. What we suffered in 2021 and 2022 are the very results of such practices. These are the reasons why people were driven onto the streets.
මේවා නිසා තමයි මිනිස්සු පාරට ඇදගෙන වැටුනේ. ඊට අමතරව
During this government's tenure, Sri Lanka has witnessed the largest fraud in its history, the container fraud. The 323 container fraud. Even today, this issue remains and the committee report prepared by the President should be submitted to Parliament. The very first matter mentioned is that the Committee for Container Release worked without transparency. If I'm not mistaken, the chairman of that committee was Bimal Ratnayaka.
රත්නායක මහත්තයා.
ඔව් මේකත් වරාය ගැන මේ රේගුව ගැන මෙච්චර බරපතල ලෙස කතා වෙන්නේ.
Today's intense discussion about the port and customs stems from the surfacing of ice, also known as methamphetamine, in these containers. This matter has already been referred to the CID to investigate whether there are other related issues. What these people are trying to do now is to cover up this ice story by talking about corruption because these ice containers arrived. This is an act of deflection and distraction. They are trying to divert public attention, but whatever these attempts may be, the public will not be fooled.
ඒ උත්සාහය කොහොමවත් ජනතාව ගණන් ගන්නේ නැහැ.